So poo-poos, let it never be said that Donald J. Trump does not care about Southeast Asia. As His Excellency has declared, you will never be disappointed with the United States of America. Yes, it is true, no more healthcare and democracy aid, funding mine removal and earthquake assistance. Yes, tariffs are a thing and countries like Malaysia are scrambling around like headless chickens. But no, hold your anger, for the God Emperor will yet visit in October. But more importantly, rejoice. To show us how much he cares, Donald J. Trump is giving us a new ambassador. So poo-poos, we are getting Nick Adams as our brand new ambassador-designate to Malaysia. Amongst other things, he is the ultimate alpha male. I think that some of you have an idea already that this is bad, but I don't know if you know just how bad this is going to be. But let me show you.
The routine of an alpha male. First thing you do is you jump into the cold plunge, naked.
Every time it's great.
Real alphas don't wear swimming shorts, they go in the birthday suit. Then it's gotta be black coffee. You don't want your coffee being diluted with any other substance. It's gotta be pure black coffee because only that can sustain an alpha. Then the other non-negotiable part, a steak and eggs. The steak has to be a minimum of 32 ounces, and the number of eggs that are to be consumed must begin at 6. They will form the columns and provide the girth of what is needed for an alpha male to have a great day. And of course, once you've consumed all those eggs and steak, you're ready to go to the gym and throw some heavy weights around.
Literally, he goes and has photo shoots with steak. In his own words, I go to Hooters, I eat rare steaks, I lift extremely heavy weights, I read the Bible every night. I am pursued by copious amounts of women, I am wildly successful. I have the physique of a Greek god, I have an IQ over 180, I am extremely charismatic. They hate this. Wow, what a character. You know, I almost want to say that this is a very bad joke, but no, it's actually real. As Donald J. Trump declares, I'm pleased to announce that Nick Adams will be nominated as the next United States ambassador to Malaysia. Nick is an incredible patriot and a very successful entrepreneur whose love of and devotion to our great country is an inspiration. Nick is a best-selling author, speaker, and commentator. Nick graduated from the University of Sydney and since then has made it his life's mission to extol the virtues of American greatness. Congratulations, Nick. Which in turn is followed up by this confirmation video, which is just completely different from any of the content that he has ever made before this. Wow. He's suited up, bro, like respect. I mean, great, like honor of a lifetime and everything like that. But at some point, somebody has to wonder, what qualifications does this true patriot have for this honor of a lifetime? Well, I'll tell you one thing. He's the very first Australian to become an American and then an ambassador to Malaysia. Literally. The story is that once upon a time, he was a part of the Liberal Party of Australia, became the youngest deputy mayor in history, introduced interesting and innovative policies, like trying to ban pigeons for spreading bird flu, and using DNA testing to track down dog owners, before eventually a whole bunch of other things happen.
But at the end of the day,
I feel like this guy's strongest qualification at the end of the day is his complete fawning over President Donald J. Trump. If you literally go down his Twitter feed, down his Substack, anywhere, you're gonna see all of these fawning posts about how he's the most amazing human being in the world, always ready to praise Donald J. Trump, the most wonderful, most kind, charismatic, life-changing president and human being I have ever known. Make America great again. which for all you know is the reason that this alpha male is now an American citizen and also ambassador to Malaysia. He's just been officially nominated and he won't actually be the ambassador unless he passes the Senate confirmation, and oh, what a shame if we were to miss out on this man. How could we miss the opportunity to have an ambassador who called Taylor Swift a woke Jezebel, made 500 tweets about Hooters, hates female M&Ms, and is the ultimate role model to all of you out there in the Manosphere who want to learn how to be real men. I have no idea what it's going to be like when this man actually becomes ambassador to Malaysia. I can imagine it's going to be a very interesting time right here. I'm like wondering like what kinds of good things are going to come out from here. I don't know, like steak grilling sessions at the US Embassy, national soy milk boycotts, $500 million FDI from Hooters to set up a chain all across this country from Johor to Kedah. I don't know, man, it boggles the mind. They better confirm him so that we can get rid of that useless Edgard Kagan with his Yale degree. Huh! I mean Yale, I tell you even my baby nephew can go to Little Harvard Kindergarten also. Hey, you and your useless trade ties, defense of sovereignty, telling us we don't need to choose between the US and China, that we have freedom of speech on Palestine. Oh wait, is he actually good? Whoa, 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 whoa. Let's not get our hopes up for a non-boring alpha male ambassador. If he and Dr. Anjani get confirmed, let me tell you they will be a dream team. Tweedledum and Tweedledee here to save Southeast Asia from itself so that we can become civilized and then impress Donald Trump with our English when he comes around in October. In all seriousness though, would he actually be a good ambassador? Well, I have my questions. I mean, the no experience thing is kind of debatable. I don't expect him to be as good as Edgard Kagan, but at the same time, it is technically something that you can learn on the job. Maybe the same way that Nasri Aziz somehow learned to be Malaysian ambassador to the US with no prior experience. But there's one thing I'm more concerned about, and that is his clear, fawning loyalty to Donald Trump. Donald, you are getting love letters literally almost every day, and a small part of me is wondering if you made him ambassador to kick him out of the US so it can be a long distance kind of thing instead. There's nothing wrong with being patriotic, that's awesome, that's great, but your president is not your country. I think all of you will agree that America is a concept that spans time and space, spanning nations, market-dominant minority of the world, greatest economic, military, cultural, technological superpower on the face of the earth, and in its multiple hundred-year history, is not a single president, is not a single administration. And if you're constantly writing love letters to Donald Trump, I'm going to start worrying that you don't represent the United States of America, but you represent merely Donald Trump. Of course, Trump is the president, but the ambassador also plays a very key role. Because at the end of the day, you're fighting for the national interest, and national interest means you have hard conversations. Means, for example, as we learned from Tammy Duckworth, if your country has a trade surplus with the US and your president wants to impose a 10% tariff on them, maybe what you should be doing is pushing back. If all you're doing is just pandering, flattering, currying favor, trying to become the number one man in a glittering ocean of sycophants, that's not being an ambassador. That's called not doing your job. And given the entire history of Ambassador-designate Adams's interactions with Donald J. Trump so far, I don't see a way that he'll be able to push back against Donald Trump, and I have serious doubts about whether he's going to actually understand the Malaysian position, which frankly is not all about fake social justice or virtue signaling, because there are actually real issues on hand.
If there's one good thing though,
one of the things that was mentioned actually in the New York Times article about him was about how he seems to be Islamophobic. But to be completely fair to him, Islamophobia and opposition to radical Islam are not the same thing. I literally went on his Twitter and I searched the word Islam over and over again, and these are the comments I see over here. I think that he's very much opposed against radical Islam. I think that if he does get confirmed, then we're probably going to see more opposition, I think, to radical Islam. But see, doing that effectively is also going to require you to like step up. If you are only a sycophant, if you can literally only just figure out ways to bodek Donald Trump day in and day out, you're not going to be able to push back against all those people who want to deliver you messages of protest day in and day out, and you 100% will be running around like a headless chicken if for some reason or another, a fundamentalist regime were to come into power, Sepupu, you will be completely in and out of your depth. At the end of the day, we are still very early in this process, but I have to say that for all we know, this could all just be either a very good joke or a very bad joke, depending on your opinion.
But regardless,
This is probably the most interesting diplomat that I've ever seen for any country out there that I can't, like... It just feels like we're finally going to be a part of the reality TV show right here, and that is going to be very, very interesting. But of course, we don't know enough yet about what he's like as a person, like what it's going to be like to actually interact with him, whether the reality show is going to continue as he becomes ambassador to Malaysia. But one way to find out is for him to actually come out and do a Joe Rogan style conversation, chat, interview, discussion. And with that in mind, Nick Adams, if you're watching this right now, I invite you to join Pathways to Excellence. It will be amazing to sit down and chat with you, Nick, or should I say Mr. Ambassador-in-Waiting. Love to hear your thoughts about everything from Australia to America, whether you miss the kangaroos, whether you miss your mansion in Florida, and whether you're sad that in this lifetime honor, you're getting kicked out of the United States of America all the way over to good old Kuala Lumpur, Malaysia. I'm looking forward to that, and it'll be very interesting. And to Ambassador Kagan, thank you for your hard work in building the relationship between Malaysia and the United States. I have no idea how long you're going to stay our ambassador, but I honestly think that you did a good job. Thank you for your service. If you lose your job in this way, I guess that's just how the cards fall. I don't think you're going to be that bad off though, but best of luck, whatever may come. I'm confident that you're serious about building a relationship between Malaysia and the United States of America. And yeah, I look forward to seeing you guys, the State Department, and the continuation of this strange reality TV show that we're somehow all in at the moment. Alright, and that's all to say about that, and bye.